There's this classic problem in game theory called the prisoner's dilemma. You've probably heard of it, but I'll try to explain it, just give a brief summary of what it actually consists of, and then try to talk about how it relates to the problem of building socialism beginning from zero. So in the prisoner's dilemma, you have these two guys, they're bank robbers or whatever. They got busted, but the cops don't really know, they don't have any damning prosecutable evidence that these guys are actually responsible for robbing a bank or whatever. So they separate them, they're interrogating them separately, and the options for each bank robber are the same. They can rat out their compatriot and get off without any jail sentence, or they can not rat out their compatriot and get off with a minimal jail sentence, provided that the other bank robber does the same thing. If they both rat each other out simultaneously, then they'll get off with a minimal jail sentence or a medium jail sentence, right? So if only one of them rats the other out, then the one who gets ratted out gets the maximal jail sentence. If they both rat each other out, then they get the medium jail sentence. They're convicted for I don't know, having a gun or something. And if they both remain silent, if nobody rats anybody out, then they get off scot-free or whatever. So the purpose of this little thought experiment or whatever is to illustrate how there are situations in which it is in the actors, the individual agents' best interest is actually against their best interests. So for any of the bank robbers here, they are most logically, it is most logical for them to rat out the other person because they don't know what the other person is going to do. If the other person rats them out as well, then they'll get busted for participating in this crime, so they'll get the medium jail sentence. If the other person does not rat them out, then they will get off free. Whereas if they were to remain silent, then they would still get a minimal sentence. They would still get a year in jail as opposed to 10 years or 5 years or whatever. So the point here is to show that even there are situations in which if individuals act in their own particular individual self-interests, then they're actually acting against what is best for them and best for everybody involved. The best thing would be for everybody to simply remain silent, so that both parties get a minimal jail sentence, and then the total amount of time spent in jail is the lowest. That is the best possible route out of this particular situation. But again, it is in each of these bank robbers' individual interest to rat the other person out, and if both of them rat each other out, then they'll get a jail sentence. And so yeah, it's like a pretty tricky situation. It's a very famous little thought experiment there. But how does this relate to the question of building socialism? If you think about it in terms of like starting a riot or starting some kind of protest movement, or even starting a union at your workplace, these are all kind of like microcosms of building socialism. You're going from nothing, you're going from the capitalist status quo that we're all thrown into to socialism, like mini socialism, like a collective kind of atmosphere where everybody's participating in a shared project. People truly become comrades. If you are the one who starts trying to build a union at your workplace, then you can get fired potentially. I mean, there may very well be laws in your state or province that protect you from getting fired. So don't take that to heart. But you're putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself at risk with no real guarantee, no participation from other people in this project that you're starting to get going. So that it's kind of a like when you're starting a car, the most amount of gas is burnt going from zero to to moving. So it's the same thing with socialism. It's really difficult to go from the status quo where there's no solidarity, where everybody is atomized, separated, and working in their own particular interests, like doing what is good for them in that status quo, to like doing some kind of self-sacrifice for their good in the long run and for the greater good of everybody. It's pretty easy to see that capitalism is destroying the planet, and unless we choose socialism, then we'll have barbarism, meaning ecological apocalypse and just further chaos and civilizational collapse, etc. So the two options here are socialism or barbarism. But doing socialism requires some amount of acting irrationally, in a sense, acting in solidarity without the guarantee that other people are going to do the same thing. They might betray you. They might, the coworkers that you go to at your workplace to try to get a union. I had this experience. It was very frustrating. They might, turn against you. They might not be interested. I was fortunate enough that the person just shat on me rather than actually ratting me out and getting me fired. But that could happen to you. The people that you go to might actually rat you out to the boss and try to get you fired. It's a terrible, terrible thing to happen. So it's very challenging, kind of situation here. How do you get out of it? How do you try to reformulate the social dynamics? How do you move beyond atomized individuals acting in their own self-interests, even though that's rational for them as individuals in the moment, but it is destroying the planet and is ultimately bad for them in the longer run. But they can't see the longer run. They have no guarantee that acting in the interests of that longer run is actually going to work out for them. The key here is solidarity. Like in the prisoner's dilemma, if both of the prisoners already have like a shared conviction, they have already thought this possibility out and are in agreement that they are going to act in solidarity, that they're both not going to talk, and they trust the other that they're not going to talk, then there's no problem. They're acting in solidarity. They're acting as a unit, as a collective, as a socialistic kind of society of two, and they're able to get out with the best outcome. It's peachy for everybody involved. So the solution to going from 0 to 100, from 0 to 1, that infinite leap from nothing to something, of getting like a socialism picked up, is by building a basis of solidarity so that people begin to act in the interests of other people against their own immediate self-interest. They have to start acting, we all have to start acting in a way irrationally. It's kind of weird to think about, but this world is built on irrational systems. I mean, and it's really not irrational. It's truly the most rational way to deal with this problem. So how do we do that? Build class consciousness, blah blah blah, culture, yeah. But yeah, that's just a fun little thought experiment that I thought I'd share. I'll try to talk more about this tomorrow, and the question of actually building class consciousness and getting that socialistic movement rolling, and how it is that movements actually come into being, like how it is that a protest movement suddenly sparks out of nothing, that suddenly where once there was nothing you have something, because that does happen in history. It's happened this very year. So it's an interesting thing to think about, and I'll be doing a follow-up tomorrow.